Hi, welcome back to Donegal Dad. I'm Mark. If you're new here, please subscribe. Today we're going to look at different types of model walls and fences. First off, I'm going to show you how I make these wire fences. To make the wire fences, I've created this jig. It's just a scrap piece of wood left over from a shelf with some 2x1 along the top. So I've decided my fences are going to be a scale height of 5 foot. To get the 5 foot scale height, what I've done is I've measured back from this piece of wood 20 mils, and I've put a line every 5 mils and put panel pins in on the first 3 lines, so these act as guides for the wires. Just take you out so you can see the whole board. So this will make about 22 inches of fencing. You can see here I've cut the tops of the panel pins. This just helps get the wires in position. So I have a second piece of wood here with the holes at 32 mil centers, which is a square equivalent of 8 foot. The holes are about 5-10 mil in from the edge. And what I do to make the fence is I get matchsticks, which I've cut down to about 30 mil, and I just put them in the top. I don't push them all the way in. There's all the matchsticks in now to make up the posts. Now, to get them all the correct height, the bottom line on here is the 5 foot mark, or the 20 mil, but 5 scale foot from that piece of wood. So all I do is simply lie it down, and what I'm doing is lining that edge up with the bottom line. So you can just gently tap with a hammer. There we go. That's them all lined up. And now you can see the posts are all the same height. So now the posts are actually a scale height of 5 foot. And with some left in there then for sticking into the baseboard. So with that in place, I just get a couple of clamps to hold it in place. Like so. Then we move on to creating the wires. So to create the wires, I'm just using some brown cotton. So a bit of overhang. Let's pull that off. You notice I've got the jig over the corner of the desk. The reason for this is then I use these little crocodile clips on each end of the thread. Just wrap it around a couple of times. And what this does is it acts as a weight on the thread to give it some tension so I can let it hang over. So what I'm doing now is putting the thread between the panel pins. So that makes sure that the thread is at the right height. And then I just repeat that process another 2 times. There's all the 3 threads in place now. What you can do is just use a cocktail stick or a skewer just to make sure the thread's in the right position. If any of the matchsticks for the posts are not straight, you can use that just to straighten them up and bend them upwards gently so the wire is just resting on top of them. And once you're happy with that, you just get a paintbrush, some PVA glue, and just glue threads in place. There's the glue in place on all the matchsticks, gluing the thread to it, so I'll leave that to dry now. What I like to do is take a little bit of glue and just put a blob on there, so when that blob is dry, then I know all the sticks are dry and they're stuck fast. So we'll leave them to dry now. Depending on ambient temperature, 12 hours should see it dried and ready to go. It's been left overnight to dry now, so all the threads are stuck to the matchsticks. So I'm going to take the crocodile clips off that I was using to weigh the thread and keep it taut. Undo the clamps. And then we can take it apart and we can paint it. So let's have a look. So lift it gently out of the jig. And there we have our fence. So the camera's not quite picking up the lines, but we'll give it a coat of paint now. To paint it, I just have some burnt umber with a bit of thinner thread, and I'm just going to coat the whole lot. So start at one end and just work your way around. As well as this, if there is any threads that aren't quite stuck, you can glue them again at this stage, and even the paint itself will still hold them in place. So I'll carry on with this now, get them all painted. There it is painted. We'll just leave that to dry and we'll come back to it later. There we go, the paint's all dry, so it's time to take it out. Now if you were to pull these out by hand, there's a chance you would pull it too far and rip it apart. So what I do is I get some needle nose pliers, I just clamp it and just gently lever it out. There it is, out of the jig. So let's take it to the layout and install it. So let's install the fencing. So line the fencing up alongside where you want to put it. So in this case, it's line side fencing running along the track. We'll drill first hole where it's going to start. I'm using a 3mm drill bit. So we want it to start here. So I'm going to come back a little bit back there. Again, watch underneath, you're not going to actually drill through anything. And then that gives us our starting point. And then because these are 8-foot centers or 32mm apart, we just get a ruler and just drill. So the holes are drilled, just line it up beside the holes and push it in. And because you painted them in the jig, if you push them in, you can't see the unpainted area anymore, then you know you've got a 5-foot post. Now I find with these size matches and a 3mm hole, that is a tight fit, and it doesn't actually need any glue to hold it in place. I think it looks quite effective. There we go. Then when you put the next section of fencing in, you start at the next hole and then the excess thread, you just put across and glue it onto the next post. Away you go. Hope you found that useful. Next time we'll be looking at some different type of fencing. So don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Leave your comments down below. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.